Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. Have you ever watched a mom holding hands with a toddler, trying to get it to go in a direction that it does not want to go? Oh, I don't know about you, but I've watched it and I'm like, oh, girl, I feel for you. Yeah, that the crying and the whining and the gnashing of teeth, and that's on the mom's part, right? You ever feel like that in one of your relationships? Maybe personal or professional, trying to get someone to go along with something that you both were going to do, that you agreed to, and then all of a sudden they start acting like a child. And all of the responsibility feels like it falls on you to make this okay. Welcome to How to Discover Your Worth Without Giving Yourself Away. This is part 3 of our 4-part series on how to reclaim your trust and your self-respect when it's been stolen by painful things in your past, problems in your present that just seem to keep coming up again and again, and a future where you're going, I'm exhausted just thinking about continuing the fight. And maybe you've seen progress. Maybe you've been able to move forward in certain areas, but it's not across the board. And by the time you get to where you want to go, it's really hard to enjoy the destination because of all the energy that you had to put out to get there. So I want you to think of it like this. If watching a mom wrestle a toddler and you feeling like that from your experiences with your relationships, how much harder is it going to be for you to get to your goals when that inner child within you is going, yeah, that's not the direction we're supposed to be going. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I am supposed to be overperforming for someone else because they made me responsible for how they feel and how they act. See, this is a learned behavior. And the behavior was, it can be called parentification or being parentified. When you were at an age where you really didn't understand what was going on, and you were given the responsibility to act like the adult in this situation. Wow. Your self-worth was dependent upon what you could give away that would be accepted that day. And if you grew up in what I call a cluster F household, y'all know what the F stands for. And by the way, cluster F is what I use for undiagnosed and or untreated cluster B personality disorders. I don't diagnose, but I do know that if this is something you've dealt with again and again, that you just want to be accepted. You just want to be seen for who you are. But it's like, oh my gosh, that seemed in the past to change on a daily basis. That what you would do one day in the household, that would be okay. Yeah. You would do it the next day. Nope, didn't work. And now there's confusion on your part. And there's chaos is what they're creating within you. And crisis. Oh my gosh, because you're responsible for them. You were made to be the mature one to handle the people in authority around you and their reactions. This is the reason why you can be seeking perfection. Because, oh my gosh, if you can just find it, the pain will stop. So it was changed sometimes, not just on a daily basis. It could have been an hourly basis. You never knew what was going to work. Oh, welcome to overperformance and avoidance. You do and do and do and do until you can't do anymore. And then you don't do. And because you were doing things to assist someone else to get their needs met, your needs were going unmet. Your need for certainty, your need for freedom of choices, your needed for worthiness, your need for validation. And this is how you developed those unhealthy coping habits. It was to make you feel okay in the present moment. And now you want to go after a goal. Maybe it's with your health, it's with your finances, it's in your relationships. And you're going, yeah, those unhealthy coping habits and patterns, they need to be kicked to the curb. And the younger you is going, wait, what? This is the only way I know how to feel okay. Because who you were when those habits were first developed is the age you are when you get triggered to continue to cope that way. And she's going, oh my gosh, you're going to take this away from me? What am I going to do then? And so she continues to overperform until she can't anymore, and the system absolutely breaks down. And then you decide you're going to get healthy, and you're taking away the only relief that she has. Okay. So how do you discover your worth without giving yourself away? By the way, on the circle of you being whole that we talked about in part 1, where I said divide it into 4 quarters, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top. And the bottom left what was going to be the certainty. The bottom right was going to be freedom through your decisions. And that was going to be trust. Now we've moved up to the top level. So we're over on the top left, which is going to be worthiness. And this is going to be around respect. We respect what we value. And so you can respect other people, places, and things without necessarily showing your self-respect. Your respect, you feel, has to be discovered by continuing to overperform and give until really you have nothing left. So we need to mature this area of you. No longer will the child, well, I tell you what, this is how I use hypnosis with this. I hypnotize my clients, this is typically on the 3rd session, to go back to the time when their mind first decided that their worth needed to be discovered through fill in the blank with the way that they overperform, that they give too much. And it's going to be unique for each client. Okay. And I had one client who she's like, okay, yeah, because you communicate with me while you're in a hypnotic state. So one part of you is aware enough to be able to share with me what the other part is experiencing, almost like in a dream state. It's what's known as a pseudo regression, where you're observing it. And she was like, yeah, I'm 20 and I'm in college. By the way, she was seeing me for weight. And I'm like, okay, what is going on around you that had you feel like you had to overperform? She's like, I'm 20 years old and I'm a freshman. I'm 2 years older than everybody else. I don't fit in any place. Plus, I've got a family And so that they don't really understand that, hey, this isn't party time for me. This is me having to go home and take care of a family and try to crunch through my homework. And it doesn't seem to be whatever I do that I'm going to fit in. I'm like, okay, so how'd you decide to cope? She goes, food. Food is telling me it's never going to reject me. It's never going to find me not good enough. I don't ever have to worry about fitting in with it. So I wasn't dealing with a child with her or even a teenager. It was a young adult. And she's in her 40s, by the way. And it was like, okay, well, what is that younger you would like to do that would be overperforming, but in a way that's actually going to be healthy and bring yourself out at your very best? How would she like to overperform now? And it could also help her cope. I'm not telling her she can't have the food, but it can help her feel a little bit better to where maybe if she engages in this activity, she can do that before she goes and eats. She said, oh, I've always wanted to get into crafts. And when we were in school, oh my gosh, because of everything that was going on with family and kids and work and school, I never had the time. But I think I've got the time now. Could I do something like that now? And I'm like, well, why don't you give it a try and see? And when she came back for the next session, which was all about validation through love, oh, she was having a blast. She was trying her hand at different things and turning on her creativity. Now, creativity is the highest brainwave state that you can experience. And when you find that creativity of overperformance can actually work for you, oh my gosh, yes. Then it's like, okay, I don't have to have all the drama. I don't have to have all the crisis and the chaos. Because remember, on our circle, that's the foundation underneath worthiness. You can begin to discover who you are in a healthy way. I was talking to someone on a consult just a couple of days ago, and I said, you know what? I'm an overperformer. It's the reason why the house that I picked was a fixer-upper. So it gives me an area of overperforming in a way that's healthy. I picked a large breed puppy. I've always had big dogs, but I picked it on purpose because I knew that I was going to need to overperform in certain areas in order for me and my pup to enjoy life the way I was looking at with the different activities that we were going to get into. So you want to start looking at that. That's step one, is you want to start looking at the areas that you can overperform in that are actually going to be healthy. Now, step number two is that you need to come to an awareness that there have been people that have been benefiting from you feeling broken. And when you start getting healthy, they're going to go toxic. They're going to go toxic to where they either want you to step in and save them, or they're going to go toxic and trying to push you back into who you used to be because they got to regulate off your dysfunction and use you as a supply. It was interesting. At one point, I was dating someone, and I had a friend who was going through a rough time. And so I was, trying to be there for my friend and also be there in the relationship. And there was a short period of time where I had to go to my mentor and go, it seems like they're trying to outdo each other on who can be toxic to get my attention. And I talked it over, and my mentor was like, yeah, you're seeing it right. Yeah, they both are trying to outdo each other with having problems. So you will show up for one over the other. And the reason why is because you have put your values and your virtues on someone else. You've projected onto them the best parts of you because those best parts of you were denied in the original imprint. And so you will project them on others, and you think that others are going to operate the same way you will, and they do not. You need to see them, and you also need to accept them from who they are. But this means boundaries, and this means rules. Boundaries bless, rules restrict. We always start with boundaries first, and we say, what level of engagement has this person earned in your life? There are several levels, and we can get into trouble when we put somebody in a level that they haven't earned, or when we have them in a level that they earn, but then for whatever reason, they can't stay there. And we're like, oh my gosh, it's fixed on the level I have them at. No, it's not. So that the idea is for you to adapt instead of maladapting and saying, what level of engagement do they need to be at? So that's a boundary, and then rules restrict. And what is it that I need to do for me to restrict access? Not what do I need to do for them? And then the third thing you want to look at is that imprint and who you were with what was happening when all of this first took place. She's still there. And she's going, okay, you don't want me to overperform like I was before. You don't want me to discover my worthiness by giving myself away. You want me to actually respect my value and say people have to earn it. Well, what am I supposed to be doing instead? And I will tell you right now, this is going to be completely different for every single client. I have no idea what you're supposed to be doing. This is the reason why we utilize hypnosis, and we give the permission to that part of your personality to find ways to express in a way that's going to lead to healthy progress. So I have no idea, but you do. Oh, she is so ready for this. So if I can be the one that's going to assist you with this, then go to my website. Claim your complimentary consult to where we can make sure that we're a good fit for each other. Or if you've already decided, yes, we are, then there's a tab on my website that says, this is what you need to do in order to work with me. Here's your next step. DawnLandrum.com, by the way, is the website. You can also go to CanHypnosisHelpYou.com. and get more information there. All right. So stop the self-sabotage and create the life that you desire is going to be dependent upon you respecting your value, understanding that people have to earn that value. You just don't keep overperforming, thinking that you're finally going to get them to say, okay, because they're not. They're going to just keep taking. Dysfunctional givers attract dysfunctional takers, or it will trigger a dysfunctional taker in somebody. They can be healthy, and then they get around you, and they're like, oh, they're so dysregulated with wanting to give. I'll let them give. No. Understand the boundaries and the rules, because this is how you respect. And allow that younger you to begin to express her ways that you have yet to discover. Until we get together again, may the two of you begin to get into agreement and going the same direction instead of pulling yourself apart.